Well, Hilary Jacobs Hendel is a psychotherapist and an author of It's Not Always Depression. She's joining us live by Skype from Waterford in Connecticut. We appreciate your time. Thank you very much indeed. Do you think that relationships that have existed underneath coronavirus, whether apart or whether together, are going to be markedly different when lockdowns are eventually lifted?
I think that the stress of the pandemic and all the emotions that it brings up naturally for everyone, like fear and sadness over losses and anxiety, are requiring that people have more skills to work through stress in constructive and not destructive ways, because relationships are very difficult under the best of circumstances. But when there's stress involved, whether it's coming together and the longing and then you're finally together, but then you have to live day to day under these changed rules, or whether you've been living together like this for the 3 months and fighting, there are so many things we can learn that can help us get along better. And a lot of it has to do with self-awareness.
I was noticing that a lot of dating apps are saying that there's been a massive uptick in the number of people signing on to them. How much of that do you think is driven by a genuine need for a new relationship or a different relationship, and how much of it is simply people trying to avoid loneliness?
No, I think they go hand in hand. I think that there's an acute awareness now that what we know, what scientists know, is that humans are wired for connection. We're social beings. The concepts that we should be independent islands is really counter to biology. So it makes perfect sense, I think, that people are tapping into their need to have relationships. And also, if we're going to be living in a time where this is going to happen again, many people want to be quarantined with someone that they are in partnership with as opposed to alone.
Children very often, of course, get the model for their future relationships from the relationships that they see on a daily basis. Given the fact that so many relationships are being compressed over a very intense period of time, how much do you think that that is going to affect the way that those children are going to approach relationships in the future?
Well, I think what you're saying is so important, that relationships have to be modeled for children. And the problem is also that we don't get any relationship skills in formal schooling, like in high school. We don't get any emotion education in high school when we need it, because the fact is that relationships and differing needs trigger emotions. And the way we use emotions, either destructively by fighting in front of children, or constructively by showing how to treat each other well even when we disagree, is so important for the next generation to have tools that we should be, frankly, I think, overtly teaching, because relationships are hard. Managing the mind and the body and the impulses that we have, which we see the destruction that emotions cause all over the world with war and whatnot. We need skills and tools to be able to manage ourselves, not impulsively, but thoughtfully, so that we always are acting constructively for the people around us and for the sake of our relationships, to preserve the integrity of the relationship by being, for example, kind, even though we want to assert that we don't like something happening in the relationship.
Hilary Jacobs, we really appreciate your time. Thank you very much indeed for joining us on Al Jazeera.
Thank you for having me.